Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob on the Wisconsin-Minnesota border here to talk Green Bay Packers today, as it is this glorious Monday, January the 6th. How we doing tonight, gents?
We're recovering, right? You know, it's not a victory Monday, but we're all right. Hanging in there.
You good, Jacob? Everything
No,
good?
I'm great. I'm having a great day. I'm staying positive. Nothing wrong. We got great news today all around. Just kidding. Obviously, we're going to deal with some headlines coming up here in just a few seconds. But everything being said, again, I'm going to try to keep it semi-positive. We are in the playoffs, guys. Playoffs.
We made it.
Playoffs.
Playoffs?
So Chris N in the chat says, Clay, assuming it's an ACL or something similar for Watson that could possibly keep him out a significant portion of next season, how far does wide receiver move up in priority? So we did get the news. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and hit it, Tim, if you'll give me that wonderful Jeff Hafley screen.
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
Not that one, Tim. The other one. All right. Here we go. Just pop it up there, and then I'll go ahead. We're going to play this from Ian Rappaport, who broke the news. Go ahead, Tim.
Coach Hafley expressing all of our feelings right here.
Exactly correct. All right, here we go. This was on the Insiders on NFL Network just a second ago, and this was Ian Rappaport not only mentioning the ACL, but also some other damage that may be done in the knee. Here we go.
It is not good. And just watching that replay of Christian Watson just makes me cringe. I mean, it's one of the only thing you really hope is when teams get in the playoffs, just be healthy. Have all your best players. For the Green Bay Packers, that is not going to be the case. Christian Watson out for the season with what sources say is a torn ACL. My understanding is there's also additional damage, likely meniscus damage for Christian Watson, who is really one of the better deep threats on the Green Bay Packers, one of the better young deep threats in the NFL. Why are we showing it again? One of the better deep threats in the NFL when healthy. The problem has been just staying healthy. He's either injury prone or incredibly unlucky, or both. Has battled injuries this season, now another one. And just based, guys, on the timing of this injury, it is fair to wonder whether or not he'll be ready for the start of the 2025 season. That is the bad injury news for the Packers. The good injury news is Jordan Love, their quarterback, who was announced on Sunday is dealing with an elbow injury, really more like a funny bone injury, one of those that isn't really that funny, but the fact that we saw him throwing at the end of the game on the sideline, we were kind of wondering whether or not he was going to go back in the game with the Packers having a potential 6th seed spot available. That's when we sort of learned maybe this is not that big of a deal. Matt LaFleur confirming today both of his quarterbacks should be okay. So it turns out that the funny bone injury that caused him to lose feeling in his hand actually is maybe sort of a little bit funny after all.
All right.
So shut up, rap sheet.
Shout it up. You know, comedian. 10,273 comedians out of a job. He's trying to be one. Unbelievable. I just made that number up too.
Tim, we got to get. Do we not have the boom drop? Because that is
we need that. Yeah.
Timeless, classic. You know,
we got to find it in the budget, Jacob. We got to find it in the budget. So listen, obviously huge news there for Christian Watson. And back to Chris N's original question, does this move wide receiver up on the priority list? You know, for me, wide receiver was never about, man, we need to go get that big threat until we know we've got all the pieces in place. And my opinion has been pretty straightforward. I need a 3-tech. I need a dominant 3-tech before I go try to make a splash with this all-world receiver, right? Because the reality is until you get that 3-tech that can truly help you dominate and take this defense to that elite top 3 level, that's what you're needing. It's the only tier 1 position of importance, in my opinion, that we don't have let's see how I can say this, at least a very good player at that position, right? Left tackle, I consider Rasheed Walker very good. He might not be great, but I consider him very good. Quarterback, Jordan Love, I consider very good. And I know people are going to roll their eyes. The dude finished the season top 5 in QBR, by the way. Just Want to put that out there for this horrible season that he's had, right? And then on top of that, edge defender, you guys know how I feel about Gary. I think Gary is a very good pass rusher who can be great. He's shown that he can be great. What we're lacking is that 3 tech. It's just really that simple for me. So my answer to that question is, and as Christian said here, I see a deep threat wide receiver as second only to 3 tech. All that being said, if when you pick at 24 or 28, wherever you end up at, if the best player on the board is a receiver, I'm totally cool with them taking them because I'm always about best player available. But I imagine the scouting should, in my opinion, the scouting should be geared around look for a 3 tech, look for another corner in case Ja doesn't come back, right? Which we should know by then. But here's the problem. We talked about this all year long, too, Tim. I'll get your all's take. The scouting department has already made those decisions on what they're prioritizing in terms of where they're spending their resources scouting, right? So it's not like, oh, crap, Ja's gone now. We need to re-up and revamp the scouting department to go look at all these corners. You imagine they'll take an extra look in the offseason, but the majority of that work's going to kind of be in the bag already leading up to the draft. But what's your all's take on this? Do you think wide receiver jumps up? There's no wrong answer either, by the way, guys. If someone says, hey, no, look, Christian's going to be out for most of the year next year, most likely, I think we should go get a top receiver. I can't push back too hard on that personally.
Tim,
I think we should be open to the idea of bringing in another receiver, whether that's a draft pick or a free agent or a trade or, whatever the option is. We have to be open to it. And I think maybe, wide receiver might jump up the priority list a little bit, but definitely not creeping up to the level of importance that we have on the defensive side of the ball, like we talked about. There's a couple other spots we'd like to address, but it's unfortunate. It's crummy timing for Scoot to have something like this happen at this point in his career, and you just hope for the best for him. And I'll tell you, man, if Aaron Rodgers can come back from that Achilles like he did in his 40s, you got to think a guy like Christian Watson in his 20s can bounce back from something like this. It's just going to take time, and it's a matter of will he be a Packer, long term, I guess, and kind of throws a wrench into our plans as we spent all this time talking about cap and moving money around and how many of these guys can you keep. Certainly you got a big question mark next to Christian Watson as of today, but who knows what the future holds. But I don't think it's unfair at all to think that we need another field stretcher type of receiver on this offense. And I'm just looking at, what's in front of us right now. Who's going to be that guy this week in Philly? Is it going to be Malik Heath? Is it going to be Tay Wicks, Jaden Reed? Who's going to take the top off this Philly defense?
Little Bo
Melton, but we'll see. But long term, yeah, that's just a big question mark in my opinion at the receiver position. But I don't think that means panic and start moving everything around, start putting all your chips on the table necessarily, because we don't know. We don't know how long, how much time he's going to miss, and how much this will impact his potential future with the team. So I don't think it's time to panic yet.
Chris then just reiterated while Clayton was talking. He goes, I see deep threat wide receiver is second only to a 3 tech. So obviously 2 birds of a feather right there. Respect Oranges says DL, cornerback, center, wide receiver. I agree. I don't know necessarily if it's that order for me. I think it'd just be how the draft falls. Right. I did see some information earlier today about how people were it wasn't just clickbaity stuff too. It was Dara, a guy that's very thought out with what he does. And I know he may have been posting a little bit of a clickbaity type post, but it was basically insinuating Jair for Tyreek Hill, which I know is not going to happen. Don't jump at me in the comments. But it started sparking my thoughts again about, what Packer fans would think about even a guy like a T. Higgins signing. Personally, I don't want to throw out 20 some odd plus $1 million for a guy that I don't think is the type of receiver that Watson is. What I am excited about, though, is getting to a point whenever our season ends, whether that is after next Sunday or whenever, if it's after the weekend after that, or if it's after we win the Super Bowl. I think we should all take a step back and have solace. I was so excited today when I saw people start doing mock drafts from other teams. I was like, oh man, that's like when unfortunately, if the season does end, or fortunately, if it ends the way that we want it to, guys, we get to reset and we're going to all get back into the draft, the scouting. I don't know about you guys, but that was some of the funnest times. I almost prefer it to sometimes because you still have hope, man. Your hopes haven't been dashed yet. The Bears are still telling you they're going to win the Super Bowl when they're studying draft time. You know what I mean? Everybody's on cloud nine. So with that being said, I've been trying to look for the positive things in life lately, especially because it's easy to get down, and especially after this last loss. Horrible. There's somebody else in the comments that said we got to take into fact that even if we win that game, it does nothing for us, which can be, as a little more frustrating as to why Watson was in there, for instance, and certain other things. But that being said, the draft is going to be coming. I'm excited. Free agency's coming. We have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I like the optimism. I really do, man. Back to the chat. We have a poll question up. If you guys would, here on YouTube, go vote for our PTA Offensive Player of the Game. The choices are Emmanuel Wilson, Malik Willis, Malik Heath, and Chris Brooks. Right now, Malik Heath leads the way with 36%, Malik Willis at 24%, Emmanuel Wilson at 21%, and Chris Brooks at 18%. Pretty cool that you got two running backs on that list, which no surprise here. We've kind of talked about it all year long, how this running back group has played really, really well. Let's see here. Respect Oranges. Slate is clean. Just win, baby. Amen to that, sir. Damon Stewart saw a crazy stat about Stokes over the last 6 games. Has he really been playing that good, or is he just not seeing the field as much? How many snaps did we say he had yesterday, guys? You guys remember?
5?
5, something like that. So I would think the answer to Damon's question is yes. Yes. He hasn't been playing much, but when he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull up his
Stokes standards, I think.
He played 5 snaps.
Yeah, 5.
And then let me go to his page real quick. I won't put it on the screen. On the season, he's up to a 61.3 PFF grade, so not horrible, right? You like to see players hit that 65 mark, to be honest with you. If we go to team reports, and again, I'm just going to rattle this off since he asked. On the season, Eric Stokes is a 61.3. He's the 16th highest graded player on the Packers defense. He's played 587 snaps too, so a significant amount of snaps over the course of the year. His coverage grade is a 62.4, and the cornerbacks ahead of him as far as grade is Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and Jair Alexander. So he would be kind of labeled as the 4th best receiver if you were just going strictly off of PFF's grades. And again, we're not suggesting you do that, but that's just one of the metrics we could use to kind of compare apples to apples. Prince in the chat says, get Jake on the horn. College wide receivers are his specialty. Find us a burner. There you go. All right. Professor Cakes, Tucker Kraft, and Luke Musgrave have potential to make a real impact this postseason. Man, Tucker Kraft, I put out some tweets. If we have time, we'll get to it. Tucker Kraft blocking his ass off yesterday. It was awesome to watch. Yes. His game is so well-rounded. He makes that laid hands catch in double coverage, and then there's 2 different reps where you see him get blocks. It's like, yeah, this dude's playing literally top 5, top tight end, top play all the way around. It used to be, here's his strength, here's his weakness. Now you're going, yeah, this dude's legit top 5, maybe top 3 in the league. Music Mary videos, Eagles 38, Packers 13. Let's screenshot it. Let's do it. Let's get those receive bowls ready. And if you get this right, you actually win a prize, Music Mary videos. It's absolutely nothing, okay? But we'll go ahead and save that screenshot. We like
some more expert analysis too here. Thank you for the intricate dissection of quarterback play in the NFL. Appreciate that.
5th in the league in QBR. He's not good at football. Got you, bro. Got you. Makes complete sense. Go ahead.
Do you mind if I highlight one that J. Cole? I thought this was actually kind of cool today. Jalen Johnson, obviously not a fan of the Packers and vice versa. I think he was even pictured flicking us off at one point in the game. But when Watson did go down tragically, he saw it. He knew exactly what happened immediately. And to his credit, he went over and comforted him. Like you could see him whispering to the dude. And like I said, I'm not getting no Jalen Johnson jerseys, but it's nice to know that even in that, like, you can tell those guys that they understand the rivalry, that it's a massive historical type thing where they don't take plays off, this kind of thing. I thought it was cool, just the fact that he was able to do that. And,
No, I agree. I was going to ask who that player was. I didn't realize it was Jalen Johnson. It was classy, a classy situation there.
Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 guys on the Bears that have a soul. So that's good to know. That's awesome.
JG126 says, hey, PTA, let's go. It's playoff football. Bring on the Eagles. I'd love to see 24-21 Packers and Holden Barkley under 100 yards. That's one matchup that, listen, Barkley's a beast, but that's definitely the strength of our defense, right? So I think it's going to come down to you got to choose. Are you going to stop Hurts or are you going to stop Barkley? In terms of the Philadelphia defense, scoring defense, top 5. Rushing defense, I think they're not in yards per carry allowed. And then passing defense, I think they've got the best passing defense in the entire NFL in passing yards per attempt. So, Tim, if you don't have a problem with it, we may want to try to press into the run this game. All right.
Oh, no. I mean, why would I have a problem with that? I haven't had a problem with it all year.
Just not on first down, though, right?
Nobody's
Yeah,
listening.
oh, gosh.
All right. Let's
If I
see.
see one freaking jet sweep in this game, so help me God.
Exactly. All right, let's see here. Let's go to the Patreon group real quick. Just wanted to clean this up. As Greg S says, I live in the Philly area. What's that?
Jason Wise. So you're saying more jet sweeps?
I'm so sick of jet sweep. I was dreaming about it last night. I was trying to feed my dogs, and when I'm running a jet sweep to get away from them, I'm like, come here, Bo. We got to get you. No, you're going backwards. You're going backwards, sir. What are you doing? So, Greg S. in the Patreon group says, I live in the Philly area and we'll leave updates on anything interesting that the enemy has to say on sports radio. Boy, that's some lit sports radio there in Philly, too. He also went on to say a few weeks ago, the Eagles left tackle was asked who was the most physical defense that they faced. He said the Rams and the Bucks. I took that personally like it. Love that right there. Trevor Anderson in the Patreon group. I think the Watson injury pretty much guarantees we pick up his 5th-year option because we won't have to give him an extension now. What do you think, Clayton? Am I off base? Yeah, I see the 5th-year option very different from most people, Trevor. The 5th-year option to me is, hey, this guy's an absolute dog. He's a stud, and it's going to cost us a bunch of money to re-sign him. Let's slap a 5th-year option on him to give us a little bit more buffer, even if we sign him that current year and the 5th-year option kind of gets voided because of the new deal. It's just kind of that bridging the gap. I personally don't see it that way. If he's going to miss most of the year, I hate to say this for Christian Watson, but it's going to drive his value down. It really is. Now, some people go, well, it sucks that he got injured, but that's good for the Packers, right? No, because you're not going to know how he's going to recover from that injury. It throws a lot of questions up in the air. It really does. Now, if this is an injury where he's going to be back, get a full year to prove his worth again and earn that contract, that's a different story. But this is one of those things. You know what I'm saying, guys? It's like right in the middle of the road. It's going to be really. We're going to be talking all year next year about, man, can we trust it? Right? Is the knee truly healthy? That's going to be a conversation.
Yeah. What about what Smitty says here? He says no 5th-year option. Watson was a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah, good point there. Great point. Yeah, many people probably think he's a 1st-round pick for how he's played, although some people think he's a bum. But that's a topic for another day. Tim, what do you think about that question there in terms of Watson's future? I guess you could say, man. Do you see what I'm saying? How it make the team a little hesitant, although they did extend Gary right after the major knee injury. They extended Elton Jenkins, if I remember correctly, after the knee injury. Could be wrong there. It may came after. And then
Neither one of those guys are take the top off of defense receivers, though. Right?
Yeah, very true. Yeah,
I think it's a little. I think the knee issue is you're under a bigger microscope when you're playing, wide receiver in this league. I think, and of course, we can also say, which knee are we worried about? We've got the one he completely blew out yesterday, and then we have the one he already had an issue with. So it's going to be tough. And I think you're right. It all depends on how Goody views this, this 5th-round option, I think, long term. And I think before this injury, we all would agree that Christian was probably deserving of that, right? We would probably think he's a guy you'd want to keep around. We talked about him or Dobbs. So, if Goody uses this as a way to maybe get another year without having to give up the big bank to Christian Watson, maybe that's, a route that we go, or maybe not. Maybe, we're playing it by ear. But I think, you hit it right on the head, Clay. I mean, all offseason, we're going to have plenty to speculate on and talk about for sure.
Can I just real quick? It's the Music Mary, the Philly fan. She's been very nice. Everybody's getting to know her. Everybody's tagging her. She's interacting and being great. And the whole chat just went, wait till Atham gets here. And she's like,
they're sticking AFAM on him.
What's an AFAM? And they're all like, oh, just wait. Just wait.
He'll be here. He will be here. I promise. And I want to kick them out of the chat, but they're not saying anything inappropriate. And it's
they're being very nice.
It's driving our algorithm up with how many times they're commenting in here too. So it's kind of cool. Appreciate the support. All right, Greg S. in the Patreon group says Philly's already looking at the NFC Championship game and not even concerned by the Packers. They say at times the Packers look like the best team in the NFC, but can't play a complete game. And then Greg S. went on to say their concerns on the Eagles is their kicker. Their slow starts in the first quarter and the unknown of Jalen Hurts. The worry increases if Jalen doesn't practice by Thursday. I imagine he would practice Thursday, but the other thing is you got a little rust factor there too. Now, listen, I don't want to get this twisted. If there's a team in the league that can absorb that rust and be able to overcome it, Philly's a hell of a team, man. They're a top 3 team in the league. Let's see, at least top 4. I feel like you're top 4. You're probably 4th in the power rankings, in my opinion. You got Kansas City, you got Detroit kind of there at the top, right? Those 2 teams. You got Minnesota right behind them. I could see Philly. Some people thinking Philly's better than Minnesota. I can understand that argument, but they are, man. They're a good ball club, so it's going to be fun. I know this. Nobody's going to give the Packers a snowball chance in hell in winning that game, and I really love that spot. I love being in that spot for sure. So, all right. Joyce Martha, come back to experience AFAM music, Mary. Yeah, swing back by sometime. You'll notice there'll be a big storm cloud over the chat, and that'll be AFAM in there. We love him though. He's our knucklehead. That's the way that works. Josh Hooley in the chat. Watson out and the Jets season is over with Tay on the way out. Do we make something happen, man? Hey, I'll tell you this.
I haven't thought of that.
We had this conversation just the other day. And again, thanks to everybody in the Patreon group. We appreciate you all for supporting the show. Yeah, so Tim, we talked about this the other day. Like, man, if the stars align and Tay, he's had nothing but good things to say about the Packers if he wanted to come back and play in Green Bay. I kind of feel like, and I could be wrong, Aaron's probably on his way out of the league. So if Tay wanted to finish up his career in Green Bay, it's going to have to be on a discounted price. I don't see Goody paying top wide receiver money, obviously. But that conversation, we had it the other day, and we said, listen, extreme long shot. Now it's got to be a little bit closer, right, Tim? Or am I? What do you think there, man? Do you think it's a little closer with the Watson?
I mean, it's hard to just, crap on that whole suggestion, considering where we're at with Scoot right now, right? I mean, Tay is familiar with things here at 1265. I think everybody knows that. Familiar with Coach LaFleur and, what he's trying to accomplish offensively. It's not completely unrealistic to think that could be a possibility because look what we've seen in the last couple of years in this league, So that being said, do I think it's like probable? No, I don't. But possible? Absolutely. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, keeping that in the back of your mind. But I think when you think about that, the real question is Tay willing to take a team-friendly deal? Is he going to take discounted money, regardless of it being Green Bay or any other team that he may end up at? So time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Dan Mullen with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, thanks for the in-depth coverage, PTA. Am I crazy or does LaFleur do his best play calling when his options are limited offensively? It does kind of feel that way. I can see that point where it's like, okay, he's got to get a little more creative and not from an aggressive standpoint. Really creative with Matt LaFleur, in my opinion, just means pressing in the run a little bit and using some of those counter motions and things like that out of the pony package.
Creative would be an A-gap run on first down. That would be creative.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little better. Sorry. Jet sweeps are tormenting me.
Bro, listen, four carries on jet sweeps yesterday. They averaged 1 yard a carry. Like 1 yard a carry. Listen.
Yard, singular, 1 yard.
You got anything to add to that, Jacob, here with the super chat, man, from our boy Dan Mullen? Thank you for that, pal.
I think that might be a fair criticism and why people that are more prone to, like myself, where I'm willing to cut the guy more slack. You guys know we hear on the posse, it's the whole reason we got to the Tupac LaFleur is that he was not being as aggressive or what's the word, I guess, commanding of a team. He's not like a Dan Campbell where you walk in and you're like, that dude bites kneecaps. All right, I get it. With LaFleur, it was more of a shucks LaFleur, and then he's gradually, I thought, gotten into being much more of a leader, a dominant leader. And I think exactly. And I just think he is such a good play caller when he's in his bag. And I think sometimes he just gets a little too cute. That's like, he's still same with the eyebrows, same with the hairline. Boy gets a little too cute every now and then. I just wish he was more consistent. Like Tim a little bit mentioned on earlier. If you're, averaging like 7 yards per carry on first down and your quarterback goes out and then now you got Malik Heath throwing like consecutive what 7 first down. It's
It was
just
crazy.
it was unreal. And then like you talked about the jet sweep. I mean, it was just I don't know. It was I feel like
You know what
sometimes
works
he
really
gets
well
in his
is
own head.
that fake jet sweep with the orbit motion, and that we saw that a couple of times with a double fake and a simple inside run, and it's 10, 12, 15 yards. The illusion of complexity. I'm wondering when that's going to come back, because right now it looked like we were just seeing complexity, and it was getting too cute too fast, and not enough success.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, man. Jim in the chat. I think AFAM is in the chat. It's just under Jim, to be honest with you. These look awful familiar, man.
I was going to say Mary has now started talking in the third person. That's Afam's burner or his sister, and nobody told him that Afam's.
Look at our boy Jim in here. Clay, you can add quarterback to his draft list, basically saying we need a quarterback. All right, now let's go on to the next one here. Check this out. Watson's value is zilch right now. Okay, got it. Watson's a bum now. Jim, again, if it's not the need, it'll be something else. All right, cool.
How dare you?
Another injury. Jim, again, Watson's our best receiver, in my opinion, but can't stay on the field. Thumbs down. All right, another negative Nancy comment. All right, let's.
I think that might be my little brother.
Sam?
Sam?
Jim, I don't love the no chance in hell spot. All right, got it, Jim. Somebody needs to do a welfare check on old Jimmy boy. And then he said that you said shaved eyebrows when we all knew what you meant. Evidently, Jim couldn't figure it out. So let's just go ahead and take care of this real quick. Boom. I don't know what happened. He's gone. There it is. All right. On to the next thing. Again, Dan, thank you for the super chat, pal. We appreciate it, man. Am I out of pocket there, guys? We had like 7 negative comments in a row there, just kind of killing the buzz in the chat.
Yeah.
It happens.
What are you gonna do? Coming off a loss.
Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe we'll look back and say
we're all just a little on edge. It's okay.
Yeah.
Nothing like a good road victory in the wild card round to
get everything straightened right out.
Let's go.
I like it, Tim. All right, let's go to the offensive grades from the Bears game here. Bang. And again, scan the QR code in the upper right if you want to join our Patreon group. Awesome chat in there. Great community building. And also you get your questions right over the air, just as if it was a super chat, just a way for us to highlight some of those who are supporting the channel, and we greatly appreciate that. All right, moving on to the offensive grades from this Packers-Bears matchup. You guys can see that all right, can't you? We good there? Oh, yeah, we're good. So let's stretch it out just a touch so you can see every grade there. Bing. Okay, so leading the way on offense was Josh Jacobs, 91.5. Okay, Zach Tom was second at 87.6. Emmanuel Wilson third at 85.7. This is not the Bears game. This is just the offensive grades. I was going, these numbers don't look like what I read earlier. So let's hop back
for the season. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So let's go to the actual game report here. For the Packers-Bears. There we go. That looks more like it. Apologize for that. Elton Jenkins, 80.8, leading the way. Rasheed Walker, 79.8. Look at that run blocking grade, boys. 87.2 run blocking grade. Let's go. Sean Ryan, 79.7 with an 83.5 pass blocking grade. Josh Jacobs, 76.8, albeit, only 6 carries. He played 20 total snaps. Zach Tom, 72.9. And then Emmanuel Wilson, 72.6. Dontavion Wicks, let's go, 48 snaps, 70.1. That's what I'm talking about. Malik Heath, 39 snaps, 68.4. Tucker Kraft, 62 snaps, 66.4 grade. Just steady freaking Eddie when it comes to Tucker Kraft now, man. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. So what's really cool about these top grades, and listen, Josh Myers, coming in the 10th spot, 62.1, pass blocking grade, 78.6. Not a bad day. Not a great day, but not a bad day. You guys know anything over 65, we kind of feel like, okay, they did their job, right? But how cool is this that 1, 2, 3, 4 of the top 5 highest grades were on the offensive line? Give the big guys up front a round of applause in that regard. Really, really cool there. So anything stick out to you guys here with the top graded players on offense?
Yeah, Rasheed Walker, run blocking. We were always talking about the run block being a struggle with him, and he's stepped it up these past couple of games. I mean, is that his highest grade this year? I think 87.2 run blocking grade for Rasheed Walker. I don't know if we've seen him grade that high in the run. No, look at that.
Look at that. That's far and away.
I mean, that's yeah.
Wow.
Against a good defense too.
That's
right?
20 plus than any other grade. Wow.
Yep. against a really good run defense. So, let's see more of the same in Philly, man, and let's run the damn ball. Let's go.
Amen to that. Jacob, anything stick out to you with the top graded players?
Yeah, it does, but it's not necessarily the top of the top. It's, again, Josh Myers quietly coming in there. Look at 78.6 pass blocking grade, 62.1. I mean, I'll take that. If he would have done that every single game that we had him, I think the Josh Myers conversation is very different at this point.
Yeah, and he's playing some of the best ball. Starting in week 15, 76.1, 62.3, 60.2, 62.1. Like, that's not horrible those last 4 weeks, right? Again, with the athleticism, I think the market's going to warrant top center money, not the most expensive, but definitely top 5 center money, I believe, on the market. So are you willing to pay that? That's the real question there. But I agree, man. I think Josh Myers kind of turning it on here toward the end. Jordan Love finished with a 61.5 in that grade. Now, Jordan Love on the year is graded out to a 77.7 as his PFF grade. So, pretty solid year for QB1 there. As you can see, man, really, really consistent across the board. Only one game he graded less than 50. It was a 44.3. That was week 5 against the Rams. And then his ceiling this year was an 83.8. So, again, his grade on the year is a 77.7. We mentioned he was 5th in QBR, according to that metric as well. In terms of the guys who had the stinker in this game, Christian Watson, 39.3, only played 10 snaps. You got to throw that out. I think we know why AFAM's not in here today. Malik Willis graded out with a 42 point.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Couldn't have made it to the show today. Could have been it. Jaden Reed, obviously having a down game there, 51.9. The fumble kills you. That's a big problem. Obviously, when it comes to PFF grade, that's going to get you a big negative mark for sure. So Chris Brooks is kind of surprising to me. I thought he played really, really well. He grades out of the 52.7. And then, again, Emmanuel Wilson, 72.6. He looks solid. I'm really happy with our running back room, man.
Just ecstatic. I think Chris Brooks had a costly penalty, and that's probably why that maybe grade went down quite a bit there, because I saw the same thing, Clayton. I was in there, and I mean, I wanted him to actually – I was happy when they took Jacobs out. Not happy, but I was like, just okay. And then they brought him back in, if you remember the series after, when they had Emmanuel go through there. And honestly, Emmanuel Wilson looked really good too. I mean, talk about a guy that can stop on a dime and cut. I haven't seen that. That reminded me a lot of Amon Green. Remember how he used to run so like – it almost looked like he was about to fall over at all times. Jacobs finishes every run that way. I think Emmanuel Wilson has started to learn a little bit of that. And I've noticed that Chris Brooks has now finished runs a lot less upright, which was my only gripe with him. He seemed like he'd take a hit and kind of just let himself kind of fall forward or whatever. But now he's kind of going in and taking that angle towards the ground and driving with those feet. I really do think the running back room is pretty good. And if you guys remember, it sounds like they also announced today that they're sending Marshawn Lloyd to that same facility in Madison, I believe, that Watson and Stokes had. So, there is definitely, we've seen it happen, get turned around, well, in certain aspects. So I'm excited about the room.
Yeah, me too. I think we could, run this room back next year. I don't see why we need to make any major changes at all. And, I was looking at the poll question, trying to vote for the offensive player of the game. And, me, I'm going to go for my boy Malik Heath right away. But I tell you, man, I had to look at Emmanuel Wilson. Really had to think twice about, who I was voting for, because I thought he played really well. And like Jacob said, Chris Brooks is proving to be more than just an asset in that pass game. He's proven to be reliable as a back. And, we can put the ball in his hands and trust him to, run through an MFer's face, as they say. Josh Jacobs, he came to Green Bay and kind of set the tone in that running back room. And you can see it's trickling down to these other guys on the depth chart. And, when he's not on the field, we still don't miss a beat in that run game. And that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn in the chat says, damn, people act like we already lost. You could tell the ones in this chat that never played ball of any kind. Shaking my head. Dang. Coach coming in hot. So Turtle says, we need to force Hurts to be a quarterback. He's coming off 3 weeks off a concussion, shut down Saquon, and disguise coverages. That's it's easier said than done, So Turtles, but if you can accomplish those things, I think you got a good chance of winning that ball game. There's no doubt.
Yep.
Coach Lynn, we still have Dylan if we want him. It's
That's
very
crazy.
true, Coach. I was thinking about that. I kind of feel like there's zero chance that Dylan's back. Am I wrong there? Just kind of because you got Marshawn Lloyd too. I mean, he's going to be the 4th back, right? You're probably not going to carry 5. Now, if it's something you want to try to stash A.J. Dillon on the practice squad and he chooses, hey, I'd rather stay in Green Bay, be a practice squad player, possibly get elevated from time to time, that might be a real thing. I don't know. But what do you guys think about that, Dylan?
I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I think we're all in agreement on that. But we've been wrong before, right? So, who knows? But I think
no.
We've probably seen the last of A.J. Dillon on the field, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what happens if you say the name Beetlejuice 3 times? He'll appear. AFAM's here, guys.
There you go. I see Dylan in the locker room.
Put that name in my mouth right there.
Joe says conspiracy theory. Here we go, boys. It's about to get good. We don't have the conspiracy music anymore, but we do have this. Let me, while I read this, let me just go ahead and crank this up here. All right. Conspiracy theory. LaFleur was screen watching the Washington-Dallas game, and his coaching decisions were based on the current score of that game. Jacob, you're a conspiracy expert here. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was going to say, pretty much you guys can. I didn't even read. I just saw conspiracy theory.
Crank it. What are you doing? I don't even want to hear the crank it.
I thought in my head, as soon as I saw the flash conspiracy theory, that I would just put it up on the screen. So if you guys ever want me to get a comment up there, just start it with conspiracy theory and put a good shot. But I don't know. I don't believe in that. If anything, I think it's more of a conspiracy type, prediction that he was maybe trying to throw some stuff on tape that I don't know. But the thing is, though, correct me if I'm wrong, Clayton, if he is doing stuff like end arounds and jet sweeps, and that would infer that we're going to do that next week or a variation off that, right? So I don't want to see that.
The way I seen it was we talked about he got away from it for a little bit, right? Let's assume that that's what he was doing was, hey, look, let's put some stuff on tape we don't plan on using in Philly or wherever we play next, right?
Right, yeah.
Let's show a bunch of jet sweeps and get them thinking about that, soften up the middle. You can look at it 2 ways. I think it's BS. I do. But I can understand the conversation being had because there were some of those calls that was like, Bub, we know LaFleur is better than this. Like, this is just strange. This is outright strange. You had running backs averaging as a whole, the whole running back group averaging over 6 yards a carry. You need 3 yards and you run a jet sweep that was averaging 1 yard a carry all night long. Or all day long, I should say. So you just never know, man. Coach Lynn Oladapo played really well. Looking back at the tape, I think we have something there. I agree.
There we go.
Let's go to the defensive grades. And where's Oladapo? He is 4th.
Wow.
73.9. Crank it, Tim. You got to feel this. You got to feel the Ola Home Depot in the blood. That's such a good jam.
It really is.
I don't know. Seriously. Boys, it's looking like this isn't just a coincidence, right? Like the safety room has blown up. You've got Xavier McKinney, who was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, right? You've got Evan Williams, who was in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year for quite some time, still had a good year, right? You had Zane Anderson stepped in and looked like damn Ronnie Lott all of a sudden. Like, where did this come from, right? And now you've got Oladapo filling in. He's grading out a 73.9. When you see that many players at one position with that kind of depth, you go, sound like it might be the coach. And that seems like it might be the Hafley and Ansley effect. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
Yeah. Good coaches get the best out of their players, right? And they put them in positions to succeed. And I think that's the difference. I think last year with no disrespect to Joe Barry, but I'm sure no one would be mad if I did anyway. But I think he was trying to put square peg into the round hole, and it just didn't work out. And I think with Hafley and his system, he's looking at these guys and he's trying to figure out the best way to utilize them to their strengths. And I think it's evident when you see, Bullard being moved down into the slot early on this year to kind of maximize his abilities as he kind of, rounds things out. And then, having guys like, Oladapo come in finally here and get some meaningful reps at the end of the season. I mean, that was a silver lining in this game to see him play pretty well and makes you feel really good, at least until we get Evan Williams back on the field for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn says Williams, Anderson, X, and Oladapo, Nixon, and Bullard at nickel. Future in the secondary is bright. It's crazy because we were talking about slot corner being a need. I'm still not 100% sold on Bullard being a great player, but boy, oh boy, he is so much better in the slot. As you can see here, he grades out 5th highest on defense at a 72.6. Coverage grade 71.3 out of the slot, and that's been his weakness this year. So if you feel comfortable with that, I will say this. cornerback is real close to sliding down on the priority list with the way these guys finished. If this kind of checks out and you don't go into Philly and all of a sudden, Devonta Smith just eats Bullard's lunch in the slot, if that doesn't happen, then you're probably feeling pretty good about the slot position. And like Coach saying, really the secondary in general. We were worried several weeks ago because it's like if Ja doesn't return, and there's no reason to think he's not going to return at this point, right? We will follow that very closely in the offseason. But if Ja doesn't return, it's like, man, we got to go get a corner, right? Well, Carrington has stepped right into that damn role. Carrington, again, top 3 on defense, 74.7. Great defensive PFF grade overall. Edgerrin Cooper led the way at 76.2. TJ Slayton, 76.0. I put a tweet out earlier. If we have time, we'll hit that here in hour 2. TJ Slayton has outplayed Kenny Clark this year, boys. And I'm not talking about just it's a small sample size. Less snaps, significantly less snaps, and more run stops than Kenny Clark. And they go, well, they play different positions. No. Kenny has predominantly played one tech this year, and that's what TJ Slayton plays. So just something to keep an eye on because TJ Slayton's set to be a free agent. And the question now becomes if the market doesn't get crazy on TJ Slayton, I want to see him back here for a reasonable price. I mean, he was $3 million against the cap this year, right? If you can get him back on a 3-year deal for $6 million and guarantee most of it, I'm on board with that.
Let's go,
100%.
For sure. Yeah, he's not going to give you the pass rush. It's going to give you the run stopping ability, and he's been lights out this year. Yeah.
And again, Steady Eddie, Javon Bullard, 59 snaps, 72.6 there. I'm sorry, not Steady Eddie for Javon Bullard. A good game for Javon Bullard, 72.6. Steady Eddie is Mr. Rashawn Gary, 71.5. Once again, only 28 snaps. I'm telling you guys, this coaching staff was not putting the best players on the field all the time. This was something that was just like, hey, let's really monitor this thing. We're already in the playoffs. Let's don't be stupid. Now, I want to say something about Christian Watson we led off with. On Wildy and Tausch today, it sounds like I haven't seen – have you guys seen Christian Watson's dad's tweet? I haven't seen it. But have you guys seen it by chance?
Yeah. I saw this. Yeah.
Tim, I want to get your synopsis of it before I pull it up here. I want to just if you feel comfortable doing it. I know sometimes I read stuff, I skim through it, and I'll be like, I don't want to put an ignorant take out there, right? But I'm going to go find it real quick. Give your take on what he was trying to say, or at least your interpretation of what he was trying to say.
I think he was just trying to, again, defend his son from the vitriol of what has become, Packers Twitter, I think. And I don't know. I don't think he was off base at all. And I think a lot of fans need to just ease up and realize that injuries are a part of the game. And, nobody asks to be hurt. Nobody tries to get hurt. Nobody's made of glass. If you're injury prone, it's because you work hard and you put your body through hell. And I think Scoot's dad was just basically tired of the personal attacks on his family and on his son. And there's really no place for it, You want to talk about Scoot dropping a pass or, not getting separation and, against coverage or whatever. You want to critique the game, that's fine. But, a guy gets a non-contact, season-ending ACL and, you want to call him glass or you want to go attack his mother and his father and his, siblings. It's not cool. So I think that's basically what I gathered from Papa Scoot's tweet today. I think just, protecting his son, basically.
And we'll dive into it in hour 2. I just wanted to kind of set the way for that because we're going to go in that direction next. I'm hearing that it was more about, hey, Romeo was ill, so Christian was kind of asked to play. But we'll read the tweet. We'll dive into it.
Well, I can see how we could see that too. Yeah. He basically kind of I'm paraphrasing, but basically said that it was kind of
team first, right?
Yeah, team first. Christian putting the team first and basically putting his body out there for the team. And, hey, those kind of things can happen. If it could happen to anybody out there.
Yeah, so finishing up the defensive PFF grades here for Chicago, we'll go rapid fire. Eric Wilson, 67.1. LBN, 65.4. Let's go. That's a solid grade there for, like I said, a first-year starter. Corey Ballantyne, 64, but only be 5 snaps, though. Colby Wooden, 64. Keyshawn Nixon, 63. Kenny Clark, again, man, 56. Carl Brooks, a 54. That surprised me because he had a couple big flash plays in that game. Devontae Wyatt, 52. Nice to see him get 31 snaps, so we were a little concerned about his injury. Xavier McKinney graded out kind of bad, 51.6. That's rare this year. Eric Stokes, only 5 snaps, 50.1. Isaiah McDuffie, we've seen this, 47.3. It's just he's probably on his way out of Green Bay. If he doesn't get an offer, I could see him bringing back on a minimum. But Aaron Mosby, 45.2. And then Kingsley Enagbare with the 43.4. We've seen that horrible penalty, obviously. No Brenton Cox Jr. here. Was he active, guys?
He didn't play, yeah.
Oh, had the foot injury, didn't he? That's right.
Yeah.
So, all right, so there you go with the defensive grades. Just want to give a special shout-out on special teams. No pun intended. Lucas Van Ness, 72.2 on special teams, 12 snaps, too. So my man is contributing. He really is. Carrington, 7 snaps, 67.6. Robert Rochelle doing special teams things there at 65.3. So those are your PFF grades from the Chicago game. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all. All right, let's go back to the Christian Watson talk. We're kind of all over the joint here, but I wanted to hit on it because I heard it on Wildy and Tausch, and I wanted to I was going to read up on it and be prepared. I'm like, no, you know what? Why don't we get like raw reaction in real time for the first time of me reading this tweet? Let's see what Christian Watson's dad said on Twitter. Again, you can follow him at NFL Hitman 33. He said, my son made a very costly decision today to try to help this team. Being a fan and supporting the team doesn't come with the pass of demean, degrade, and harass players and their families for any reason. Players are out there giving their all, and some of you think buying paraphernalia and tickets gives you the right to say and do whatever. It does not. Football is just their profession. I love my son. If you attack him, you attack us. I'm going to explain something to anyone hearing my voice right now. If you're one of these chicken shit, and that's right, I said it, you can bleep it out, we'll leave it in. Doesn't really matter to me. If you're one of those people that hide behind a computer screen and try to talk mad crap to people, and then knowing damn well you would not say it to their face, I have nothing for you. If you're in the chat and you hear my voice, if you're listening on the pod and you hear my voice, and you're one of those people, I do not want your click. I don't want your listen. I don't want you to be a part of this very tiny community that we're creating, because you do not represent anything that we represent here. Period. Case closed. That's the way I see it. Now, do I think that Tazim is the perfect human being and what he says goes? Absolutely not. I don't engage with him much. There's been times I've disagreed with him. I know there's going to be times he disagrees with me, and I would always defer to this dude made it to the league. This fat, out of shape redneck didn't, right? So I'm going to take his opinion with way more merit than my own. But I will say this, man. If someone if someone were to attack one of my siblings like this or one of my family members, don't think for a second I would not be reacting the same exact way that he is. And again, I love that he's posting receipts too. He's quote tweeting people that's saying this garbage to get it out there to go, hey, Packer fans might want to unfollow this dude, might want to block him because he's going to continue. They're going to continue to spew this hate, right? Chris in the chat, Watson has always put the team first, y'all. I had somebody say it's the opposite knee, Clayton. He's injury prone. You have no idea the amount of stress that you put on an uninjured knee when you've got one knee injured. Like you're not even speaking as if you understand this much of how football injuries actually occur. Like it's been proven time and time again. That's just the stupidest argument. It really is. So again, the personal attacks, man, not going to do it here. I know there's people on other shows and there's been other podcasts that do that. But again, I know they're not going to do it to people's faces. And I'm just not going to be that person. Not going to do it. And I'm not going to create a vessel for it either. Not going to happen, man. So Respect Orange is listening. Matt LaFleur, Watson was saying he wanted to play. So this is what it sounds like. Piecing all this together, I want to get your all's take on it. To me, it sounds like the team allowed Christian Watson to persuade them to, hey, I want to go out there and play. Rome's down. This is the Bears. I want to go play, right? And the team gave into that. I tip my cap to Christian Watson for being a team player and laying it all on the line. And it cost him a good chunk of money is what it's looking like. What I don't appreciate or I don't agree with is the team allowing that to happen. As the organization, you've got to step in there and go, no, Christian, we can't let you do this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, somebody had to clear him to play.
Exactly. And we're going to let your teammates know that you tried your best to get in this lineup so they know you were willing to go to bat for them. Yep. But the fact that they let him on that field, I'm sorry, man. That's just – we talked about it all week. This isn't Monday morning quarterback. And all week long we're going, keep him out. If he's not 100%, keep him out. If he has to wear a brace, keep him out, right? That's the way I feel about it. But you guys have the floor. I'm done. I just want to point that out. That I have no place for that on this podcast. I don't.
I mean, yeah, real quick, it's Smitty kind of says it best. Is Watson has represented the G in a great manner. Love him on this team, and you guys realize too that we've talked about it time and time again that when you're a Green Bay Packer, that doesn't just mean that you're a good football player or whatever. It means you're a part of the community. It means that people respect you for, I mean, you can live the rest of your life after only playing a few seasons in Green Bay and be a hero for this whole city, for this whole state, whole fan base. And he's done nothing except for put every single day, put his best foot forward and try to be a positive. I know he's been a positive influence. He's been one of the better receivers in the league. When he's on, he's on. You can't argue with that. And the guy has done nothing but fight through injury, try to take it on the chin. To his credit, and I think Tazim would admit this, if my old man was on there spewing on Twitter, I'd probably be like, Daddy, no, stop it. But
stop, Dad.
He doesn't get involved really. He doesn't post nothing. I haven't seen him do anything negative on social media ever. I've never seen him out, in the club. I don't see anything about this guy that would ever be like, he's not a consummate professional and somebody that I am proud to have, carry the G. That's my opinion. And I don't know what we're doing going forward because it's a business, and the GMs the front office and the coaches are going to have to get together and they're going to have to make a business decision. And it does suck because he cost himself quite a bit of money. And I think that if anything, Matt LaFleur probably feels, I would bet, I know Matt LaFleur has a pretty big conscience. I know he likes his people and that he loves his players. I guarantee you that after that night, he didn't get a lot of sleep because there were a lot of things going through that dude's mind. A lot. You think about how easy it is to, like you talked about, being a keyboard warrior. Trust me, I've done some stupid crap like that, and I have a short temper when it comes to what I think is wrong, and I'm working on it, right? But everybody has that inside of them, so I don't blame them. I don't, like you said, family's family, especially when it's a Green Bay family.
Yep, absolutely. And I think too with with Christian's dad here, I don't think he's constantly sticking his nose in his son's business. I think most of the time you see him posting or addressing things, it's because he's responding to this crap that he's seeing posted constantly, or he's being personally attacked. There's stuff you see that he, like you said, he posts some receipts, right, Clayton? But I can only imagine the things that we don't see that are sent to him and to Christian's brother and sister and his mother too. It's just it's terrible. And fan how you want to fan, but I mean, I think we all agree that there's a line that you just don't cross. And free speech is free speech and all, but it doesn't mean it doesn't come with consequences. So just be careful with what you say out there when you're attacking professional athletes and their families. Like, man, get a hobby, dude. Seriously.
This is the thing that kind of has crossed my mind multiple times. We're all going to be in Green Bay for the draft, right? That's coming. There've been a lot of people write a lot of checks with their mouth that their ass can't cash. And I just can't wait till we get to Green Bay and to see how these people react, just to see if they bring the same energy. It's going to be very, very interesting. And you'll know our crew. You'll be able to recognize us because I'm telling you, I can't wait to meet our listeners and our viewers. We got a diverse group of people. And it's just awesome. It's awesome. People attract to them what they are, right? And we got a ton of former veterans that are, America first, everything that I was raised to think was right. Going to be really noticeable at the draft. There's no two ways about that. Coach Lynn says Watson was doing a lot in his routes. Also, he was performing rocker steps and different releases to try and ramp himself up for this week, I could tell. So obviously Coach Lynn has an eye for that stuff, being a coach and playing the game himself for so long. So Chewy in the chat, I just signed on 5 minutes ago and have no idea what's going on, but it's getting old. I wish people would grow up and be respectful. Now I got to go look up what's going on. Hey, you can hang around for this right here. I'm going to just go Brett Snuffles. That's illegal.
No, we're not.
Yeah, that's we won't go into any details here. All right, so Music Mary videos, just having fun, LOL, and I love it when these two clash. AFAM's never heard of this guy. Speaking about himself in third person. And then Music Mary comes back to going clubbing, Monday, what? TGIF. Get this guy out of here. He sucks. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Says, stop being a noob.
Sit your butt outside.
As soon as
Chill,
the
Mary.
chat said, "Wait till AFAM gets here," and sure enough, man, 2 peas in the pod over there. Love it. All right, let's go to Twitter. That sound good, Gus? Let's go in here and hit on some of the stuff that we tweeted out earlier. I really got some interesting numbers that we came across too. Is there anything else you guys want to add to the Christian Watson talk? Anything like that?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Thanks,
Yes,
Matt. That sums it up. All right, let's move it along to Twitter here as we jump into just kind of the stuff that happened there, wrapping up the season. I thought this was interesting. I've seen a lot of people slandering Jeff Hafley. Listen, we were as critical as criticizing as anyone with that last play of the game, right? Again, one of those moments, Tim, we look at it and go, I can't make sense of this. I really can't make sense of this.
Yep.
Did it all happen fast? No, we called a timeout. It's like, okay, are we might see a situation like this in the playoffs and we don't want to show how we would attack it? I think it was more along the lines of, hey, play it outside in, and they went triple stack, and everything happened fast from that point. You can't call a number. If you call another timeout, isn't it I think that's a what's that penalty, right? Delay a game penalty or whatever. So
I believe so, yeah.
You can't call back to back. I don't know what the technical term, but you can't call back to back timeouts like that. So with that being said, this is what Jeff Hafley's done this year. Jeff Hafley's first year in the books with the Packers finished with the following rankings. Scoring, they're 6th in the league. They were 13th last year. Rushing defense, 3rd in the league. They were 25th last year. Passing, they're 10th this year. They were 18th last year. Guys, you're talking about a significant increase in every statistical category. Oh, by the way, I mentioned here in a minute the takeaways. We haven't even got to the most important stat yet. But I just want to point out, as this clip right here of Rashawn Gary getting his sack off the edge, you'll notice him over here. Again, I know the snap gets bobbled. It doesn't matter. Gary beat his dude like a damn drum out of the gate. So he's getting that sack regardless if Caleb fields that cleanly or not. Watch Gary come off the edge here. Just an absolute dog. He's an animal. Bang. Now, so rip move, sack. So Rashawn Gary finishes the season leading the team in sacks and run stops according to Next Gen Stats. So, again, did he have a down year? I believe he did. He was still your best defensive lineman, and it wasn't even close. Was not even close. What do you guys think about those numbers? Those catch you off guard at all?
I don't like them. I don't like the numbers.
Smitty.
To be honest. And then Respect Orange comes in. What's the stat on Jacobs?
I wouldn't even think about this right now. It's hilarious. Tell them what you mean by that, Jacob.
Well, and I hate to admit this to you guys, but this morning I woke up and I was looking on Grok and I had him AI simulate.
Let's go.
Can you put a man wearing a sombrero in a race car bed? And then I had to tweak it like 8 times, but I found one that is really funny. I just don't want to have to do it. I'll make if you guys aren't aware, we had a bet because I like to do
We've got it. I got the banner saved, Jacob. We can put it on the screen for you.
That'd be great. Thanks, Tim.
Here it is. Look at that, right on time. If the Packers have a top 7 scoring defense, I'll get an Emilio tattoo on my left butt cheek. Quote from PTA Jacob, a.k.a. The Beard, a.k.a. Butt Cheek Tat Man.
And they were 6th? That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, right. 6, Clayton,
and it's not even in points per play, but also points per game. They were 6. So I was trying to find it out. I really was, Jay. I was trying to find it out. But yeah, I want to share this real quick too. We'll drop this down for just a second and come back to it. But Carly in the other chat, since you mentioned race car bed, I thought this was hilarious. In the other Patreon general chat, she said, yeah, look, Emilio was so pissed off after the game, he destroyed his race car bed and threw it out to the curbs.
I'm going to be so mad if that was real and she didn't text me and be like, come get this thing. Because I would have put that in my spare bedroom, 100%. And I would have sent me, Emilio, I got your bed made up for you.
I've heard it's kind of like a genie in a bottle, though, man. Like if you put a race car bed in your house, Emilio pops up in it. Magically appears.
He shows up to change the oil and rotate the tires for you.
Oh, man. So Carly obviously coming through with the gym there. Tim, you got anything you want to add to those defensive numbers there, Bub, that we just talked about? I'll get it back on the screen for you. Jeff Hafley, obviously, man, that's a significant improvement, man. It really is.
It sure is. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I'll go ahead and take Jacob's word for the tattoo. We don't need photographic evidence when he gets the
Chat's
tattoo.
calling for the evidence, bro. All right.
Well, they can have it. I don't want it.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
No, but it's all due to this defense, right? Jacob gets a butt cheek tattoo courtesy of Jeff Hafley's defense. I love it. And we talked about this after the the Joe Barry experience, right? We said, well, change is only good if it's for the better. And we were pretty excited when we heard about Hafley coming over from Boston College and, getting the job coordinating this defense. And, to his credit, we've seen improvements. And like I said, it added up to, a couple more wins this year than we had last year. So I for one, think it's a great first season for Hafley.
Yeah, completely agree, man. And again, the reason we want to look at these globally like this at the end of the year is because in the moment you'll see a bad play call, you'll see a bad defensive performance, and you'll get skewed because your emotion, it'll it'll stamp your brain with, hey, this is how they played, when in reality they haven't played like that all year long. It's just a minute amount of snaps that you kind of see that taking place. I thought that was really interesting. Now, moving on here, this is the Xavier McKinney interception when they tried to get cute. The Bears tried to get cute, obviously. Let me see if I can widen that out just a touch more. That's about right. So here's what we said on this tweet, just running down some of the numbers. Jeff Hafley's first year in the books, the Packers finished the following rankings, and I added the takeaways, all right? 4th in takeaways. Last year, we were 22nd in the entire National Football League. Obviously, Xavier McKinney finishes 2nd in the NFL with 8 interceptions his first year in the Jeff Hafley defense. You love to see it. So, again, takeaways, probably the most important stat that we've even talked about today, guys. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I was just sad that X didn't get to pick off Caleb. He had to pick off a receiver on a gadget play, but we'll take it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob, anything there, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, it is, like Tim said, I would much rather have seen Caleb. And to Caleb's credit, the guy didn't throw a lot of picks this year, right? But also, you're not in the playoffs, homie. So he's got more time to get them nails filed. I thought it was hilarious. I think it may have been Dara, another one of the Packer guys, but they put up a post that night or during the game where it was like Keenan Allen, F it, there's somebody back there, or I'm back there, and just throws it like he's throwing to himself, basically. I think that's probably what he I don't know, man. I don't know what he was thinking there. I mean, he's clearly not a quarterback for a reason. We talked about a lot of the dumb coaching mistakes, quote unquote, that that Mr. LaFleur had supposedly made, or we could argue that he obviously did make. But we're in the playoffs, guys, and he's, I believe, 5 out of 6 times making the playoffs. So, we can criticize a lot of people as much as they want, but look where we are, look where they are.
And that's the thing too. Like, I've heard some people saying, I'm so sick of hearing we're the youngest team. That's not Matt LaFleur's fault, guys. Yeah, if you're going to blame somebody, blame Goody. Okay. And you can't get mad at the fact that they are the youngest team in the league. Again, there's not been a team in the National Football League, to the best of my knowledge, ever win a Super Bowl with the youngest roster. Okay. You can't blame LaFleur for that. I mean, you look up and go, that's not an excuse. The hell it is not. Sooner or later, you've got to get some kind of veteran leadership on the team. You do. Chris Ian says, all right, we're going to have to bypass it then. Remind me, we're coming back to the 9-hour mark. Josh Jacobs here. He wants
a little. It's unreal what he did.
Yeah, we talk about the ball, being affected. We talk about the wind conditions. It's another thing, like you said, it's the physical things it does to your body, especially in the kicking game. I even think about, Danny Whelan holding that ball. You're catching a frozen brick being snapped to you. Just able to get that hold down, good for McManus to get a strike on the ball. So if anything, I feel really good about that kicking unit. I think Matt Orzich will clean up the long snapping at some point, hopefully. But that was fun to watch, though. So was that $2 worth of kicker talk for the?
Yeah, real quick, Tim. One more kicker, a little bit different type of kicker talk. Atham said, "Jacob, chime in on my conspiracy theory," and it actually, for Atham's sake, he says maybe that kick against Danny Whelan was scouted because he has hang time, because his hang time has been so high, or quote unquote too high. I don't know how to. I used to be a long snapper, and we were always taught that guys are yelling wherever that ball is going, especially the kicker is yelling to their other squad teams. And so guys like myself, when you snap that ball and you're just running as fast as you can, that you got to start taking an angle somewhere rather than turning around and losing a little bit of that sprinter's kind of stamina. You want somebody yelling behind you, hey, fire, left, right, wherever it is. I don't know. It seemed a little bit odd. Plus there's that holding call.
I want to say this real quick. That was a broadcast we were showing just now, so that'll probably get copyright hit. So you guys probably on the podcast or on the YouTube video you're watching back didn't even see what we talked about. We said the kicker was good. Okay, that's what we said. All right, just so you know. That got edited out, I'm sure. Now, I want to move along. You just said punter, right? What you were saying with punter. I think we actually have, if I can find it here, I know we've got it. I know we got it, that pump play. So this is the part that drives me crazy, right? Fitzpatrick, he reads this early. It's not like he just got completely tricked. You can watch how early he reads, oh, crap, a kick's over here, and tries to get to the play. And you'll see, look at the hold here. Like he's making that tackle if this guy isn't draped all. Look at this.
That's insane.
Yeah. And right here, look at the derp. I mean, if you were to say, all right, Clayton, you need to put the official in the perfect spot to be able to see this, you couldn't find a better spot than where this is official. Look at this. Staring right at everything. So, again, just wanted to point that out since we were talking about that kick. It wasn't like everybody got fooled, right? Although it is odd that so many did get fooled on that play. I will give you guys that for sure. It's just it's a little strange. Back to the previous chat. And again, Chris N, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. I put Josh Jacobs finished his debut season in Green Bay, becoming the first Packer to rush for 1,300 yards in a season since Ahman Green in 2003. He also finished with 15 rushing touchdowns, only one behind the league high. So, Tim, we talked about this. Were we getting 2022 Josh Jacobs? Yes, we were. That's what we got, man. And I think somebody said that it's a Packer franchise record for 8 straight games with a touchdown, I believe.
Correct.
So that's a cool statistic, too. What do you guys think? Anything you want to add here on Josh Jacobs? Obviously, running through 3 defenders for this tutter right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's a Packer. You know, it was tough, man. That was heartbreaking to see Aaron Jones leave. But, you know, when you get a guy like this coming in behind him, I mean, you feel really good about your running back room. And, you know, we talked about it. It kind of has a trickle-down effect to everybody else on the team. I think he's been a big lift to that running back room. He's a great example for these young backs that we have behind him. And I just, you know, I hope he's here for the long haul. I think we've seen enough just this season alone that if he's going to continue to play at this level like this, then, you know, he should finish his career here in Green Bay. He really should.
One thing I'll say, Jacob, too, watch Sean Ryan here. Walk this guy all the way to the end zone with one hand while getting his leg taken out by Josh Jacobs. You see that?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I was talking about with Josh Jacobs, about how if you play this through even just a little slower, he'll get hit at the 5 initially, bounce off that. A guy comes in that should make him a tackle at about the 4. He decides to just lower his body weight and then drive those legs about 2 or 3 more times, and then decides, my right guard's in my way. Get out of here, you hog molly. I got nothing for you.
Now, key in on Sean Ryan this time, the whole rep. Watch him. He puts a hand on this backer. This looked like a duo call. It could be wrong. Let's see if anybody pulls. Might be a little pin and pull action. Let's see. We got it in slow motion. So, now this is duo. Now, look at Sean Ryan going to walk his dude all the way out, one arm, and then shields his knee so he doesn't get his knee blown up from his running back. How cool is that, man? So, Sean Ryan's
coming through like a bowling ball at the end. I love it.
Sean Ryan is quickly becoming one of my favorite Packers, man. And I didn't expect this. I did not have this on
No, dude.
Hey, fam, Nacho Libre here. I did not have this one. Did you guys see this one coming? Because he is playing pretty solid football.
Absolutely not. And honestly, think about, what is it, the 2022 draft class or whatever class he was a part of, where it's him, Walker.
He was same year as Quay, I think. Quay and Scoot.
Yeah, Quay, Scoot, Rashid, freaking Tom. That was all the same draft class, guys. Like, when you look at it on paper, you're like, okay, so maybe I should stop criticizing how the Packers draft, even when it's into year 1 and even year 2.
Yep.
Give them until that 3rd year, man. I mean, wow. We could argue even if it's a 1st-round pick. I'm still hopeful for guys like Van Ness and other guys that are starting to peak at the right time, especially obviously Jordan Love and things like that. I just think we need to all take a step back and remember that we're not doctors, right? Or scientists or GMs.
Exactly. The Joy Taylor talk, you guys go check that out yourself. Boy, they are so raking them over the coals, man. That's an interesting situation. That make you really step back before, especially with the Brendan McManus thing too. Like, and we talked about punt God, right? Like, it's like, you don't rush to judgment, man. Let the legal process play out a little bit and let some of the witnesses have a chance to speak out on what's actually going on before you get on your high horse. I ain't gonna do like Pat McAfee and stand on my chair. I'll break my neck. But there's some high horsing going on out there over the last couple of years for sure. We just tweeted this out earlier. Obviously, we've covered it pretty extensively. Just saying prayers up to our boy Christian Watson. We got to watch that. That might get hit with the copyright too. I was just simply saying that Aaron Nagler pointed out here, we'll do it this way, 3-man rush with 3 safeties deep, all of them backpedaling at the snap of the ball. This is one of the worst defensive calls I've ever seen, and I watched Bob Slowick for 3 seasons. I will say this. You guys were complaining about the same thing last year.
Yeah.
And the year before. So I can't help you. Don't know what to say. Do not know what to say there other than every defense calls these type of looks. It was a rare triple stack look. I don't like to call 3-man out. That's what the call was 3-man out. You typically got 2-man under. This was 3-man out. You were 3 deep, man coverage across the board, only a 3-man rush, and you were playing outside leverage to keep them in bounds. They threw a triple stack look to you. They burnt you with a slant to get you in field goal range. You wanted man coverage. You wanted this aggressive man coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe Matt LaFleur in a press conference also acknowledged, he goes, yeah, we were supposed to have a robber on that play. It was just one of those, it wasn't necessarily that Hafley didn't want a guy to be there. It sounds like there is another miscommunication, which again, that's still on the players and the coaches, but it's not as egregious. It's egregious, but it's not to the point where it's like Hafley should be fired. We just put up the stats, guys. It's drastically a better defense. You can't even argue that. So everybody take a step back.
Yeah, and one of the things we pointed out last night, Tim, remember when we broke that play down? I didn't realize I tweeted that much. Holy cow! I was trying to find that play. It's somewhere back there. I know for the 3 deep look we were talking about. I don't mind the man coverage call there if you've got somebody else playing in the middle, right?
Right.
But so now we know what Jacob said. Someone was supposed to rob. What we mean by rob is one of those deep thirds. We're supposed to come down and play the middle. Is what that was supposed to be. And if you do that, you probably tackled him for a 5-yard gain, and that field goal. You're what's probably going to happen is they're going to be out of field goal range, rush to the line of scrimmage, snap the ball, spike it, and then they're going to throw a Hail Mary. So,
do you think with everything that happened on that play, you could also argue that you wish that they were coached to not necessarily get a penalty, but just take your time getting up off that defender. When you know what I'm saying? When they made that tackle, they popped right off him, and they let the rep spotted the ball, and it's like, hey man, my ankle hurts. I can't quite get off you. Sorry, dude. Oh, and then as long as you don't throw the ball away or do anything excessive, it's like you needed 2 seconds.
If you lay on a player though, you are risking getting called for delay of game, and that's
right.
another 5-yard penalty. The most famous play in terms of that tactic was Fred Bednarik way back in the day, Lombardi's Packers at Philadelphia. Don't ask me why I remember this. But he laid on Jim Taylor on the last play of the game, and they got the clock to run out. And that was the famous quote Lombardi told those guys, we will never lose another playoff game again. That's what he said after that game. And I remember Bart Starr telling that story. It was like, he told us we'd never lose a playoff game again, and we didn't. So pretty cool. Javon Bullard, listen, not perfect. PFF grade was good today. Javon Bullard has been far from perfect, but most rookie second-round picks are. However, he really shows promise in the slot as opposed to safety. Great job blowing up the smoke route to a significantly larger pass catcher. I think this was Cole Kmet making this catch. Watch Javon Bullard come up, stick this dude. You'll see him up here up in the slot, playing press. He reads smoke, bang.
Yep.
No hesitation. I'm telling you, that dude needs to be a slot defender the rest of his career. No doubt about it. Like
it
Tim
sure
said,
looks like that,
Yeah. When you play him at slot, like Tim said, he's like a linebacker trapped in a cornerback's body, right? And he kind of covers like that too, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to knock him. It's just the reality of the player type that he is. Nickel corner is where you want that dude that's a linebacker trapped in a cornerback's body, right?
Yeah, dial up that nickel blitz, send him. And yeah, great FBI here to sniff it out. This is, again, rookie player making high IQ plays here in his first season. This is what you want to see. Most guys, they stay home and they get blocked out of that play or washed out of that play, and it works. He was all over that.
Yeah, definitely. So I know, Jacob, that's your boy, man. Pretty cool to see him find.
I love that back end pursuit there too. If you look at that, just real quick one more time, you got guys like Edgerrin, Wilson, everybody. There's not a lot of people. If Bullard doesn't make that play, he's got about 3 or 4 other guys coming right there. They're not even back to line of scrimmage.
It's a great point. Yeah, there's no hesitation from Cooper in this game.
Look at Coop, dude. That's so cool, man.
Squatting away 73. Get off me, little boy.
You find out why Cooper wasn't on the field at the end of the game on the most important play at the end
Tim,
of the game?
I don't know, man. I can't figure these things out. I don't know what's going on. It's mind-boggling. It really is, man. Especially seeing that he played more snaps than Eric Wilson. So it's not like it was a green dot thing, right? We still don't know who wore the green dot. My guess is Xavier McKinney, as someone had pointed out, I think on Twitter, they had shot me a DM or tagged me in a tweet and was like, seeing that Xavier played every snap, you probably think he had to be wearing the green dot. That makes the most sense for me. But yeah, again, Javon Bullard though playing great. I'm going to make a note here. We're going to pick up at the TJ Slayton talk in the morning, Tim, because again, TJ Slayton definitely deserves some recognition. So we'll pick up there. I'm going to make a note right now, and we'll get ready to wrap this thing up. If you guys want to hit the rest of the Mark chats here, we'll hit on those.
Real quick, Zacharias is asking about the draft. He goes, I know it's never too early. We did that actually in the first part of this episode. So if you want to go back and cover that, you can definitely check out what we thought about getting into the draft. I'm personally very excited for it. I know the guys are as well. And so what do you think about Joe saying Kalen King is probably a CB1, but if he just sucks at practice, and we know that, and we know what this coaching staff basis assessment and value off of, basically, I think he's trying to say, is there a way that we can improve on Kalen King? I still have hope for him.
Yeah. Oh, no, I definitely have hope for him, but I think that, he's not ready. If he was, believe me, this coaching staff, they're not holding him back for anything, right, Tim? They want to get it out there.
No, and you see they're not afraid to throw rookies out into the fire either. So I think, probably a CB1. I like the way he says that there because he's not making a statement here. It's just kind of a prediction that he might be, of that caliber, a CB1 potential. But yeah, he's clearly not. He's not ready, or he would have saw the field a lot more, especially considering how thin we've been at corner at times this year. So maybe next year, or one more set of OTAs and a preseason, and we'll see. Because let's be honest, there's a realistic possibility that the cornerback room looks a lot different next year. With the exception of a few core guys. So I'm sure Kalen King is still a part of that plan long term, but I think he's probably a ways off from being that, true number one kind of corner.
Yeah, agree. Artie Ironminer, is anyone giving the Pack a chance next week?
This guy right here. This guy. I'll play the Eagles on the moon. Forget about it.
That's a good accent, man. United Bates also said Matt Schneidman was just on Philly radio and picked the Birds to win 28-24. So listen, Matt Schneidman's not a Packer fan, right? He said that time and time again. I don't think that's a crazy unrealistic prediction. As you can see here, Greg Rice, Philadelphia is currently 3.5-point favorite. So Vegas thinks it will be close. That's all I want, boys. I just want a shot. I just want to be in that ball game.
If I'm not mistaken, you guys, Jamie and the fact checker in the chat there, I believe that Dallas going to that game, we were like 7-point, maybe 10-point underdogs, if I'm not mistaken.
Remember. Yeah, but it was interesting.
I think it could have been as high as 10. So, I'm never counting us out. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think we got a legit shot to win that game. I do. Again, I'm also going to continue to point out the fact that Philly is a well-built team. They're built in the trenches. They're built like you want to build a playoff team, someone that can sustain, a good running attack and also get after the passer. When you talk about we need a true 3-tech, they've got 2 guys on their defensive line that could be a true 3-tech on most teams. So just keep that in mind.
And of course, the Philly factor too, right? Probably one of the top 5 most difficult stadiums to play in on the road. Period. Yeah. That fan base is
brutal.
Psychotic would be a good word, I guess. It's a hostile environment is an understatement. So they're going to be tested on a lot of different levels for sure.
Yep. We'll get another piece of the puzzle for this young Packers team, and I'm excited about it for sure.
Yep.
The other thing, too, to kind of piggyback off what you said, Tim, we'll wrap up. When you play on the road in a place like Philly, it's not just how the fans, how they affect your team, your players, but also how they affect the officiating. Yep. If you think for a second those officials don't look around and go, well, if we want to get out here alive, we better make sure we don't call a bad one on them. That's a real thing. Yep. That's a real thing. So I believe
hopefully will make for a good game, right? Keep the pocket hankies in your pocket and just let them play football.
It seems like fans are more willing to let it go if you choose to go, probably a flag, but let's don't throw it, as opposed to getting flag happy. And then next thing you know, one team's been penalized 12 times, the other team's penalized 6, right?
Yeah.
So
I'd rather be mad about the occasional no call than being mad about all these egregious flags being thrown all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the comments you've marked there, Jake.
We don't have to. I would like to go into a conspiracy, though, tomorrow, if we could, about those the officiating crew that we've inherited. I'd like to go. They have some actual hard numbers that I think are interesting. I believe you reposted it on your Twitter, Clayton. I could be incorrect.
That's called a tease. We'll hit that tomorrow. All right. We'll touch on that tomorrow. So I'll put them up here. Jake G126 says, I mean, Philly fans did burn their city after the Super Bowl win. That's a true story. And Respect Oranges, get that hobo stab insurance. Lord have mercy. Listen, I've been to Philadelphia. It's funny how all these places have these horrible reputations. I've had nothing but good experiences in big cities. That's just me personally. Went to Philly, stayed 2 nights. Loved it. Loved the people. Thought it was awesome. Been to Manhattan several times, as well as Queens, the Bronx, all that stuff. Watching ball games with the Yankees, all that. Never had a bad experience. Same thing with Chicago. I think I've told this before online before on the show. Stopped to get gas. It was full service. We don't have these down here in the South anymore, at least where I'm at. They fill me up with gas. We're good to go. We take off. Next thing you know, I'm going down the main strip, heading toward the Navy Pier, and this minivan comes flying up on me, flashing the lights. Well, you know what I did? I reached for the pistol. I'm like, all right, it's going down. This is what people told me about. This guy pulls up next to me, little Indian dude. You forgot your wallet. Chase me off me my wallet. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I've had nothing but good experiences. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. But, again, there we go. Good job, Smitty. Appreciate you pulling that up. Dallas was 7-point favorites in that playoff game. So, pretty cool, man. They're expecting us to keep this one closer than we did against Dallas last year. It says a lot with Philly being such a strong team. So, all right, Tim, you got anything else, bub?
Yeah, we kept it close the first time we played them too. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
So, and I think they're a different team at this point in the season, and so are we. You've grinded out 18 games or 18 weeks, and it's going to come down to one game. It's win or go home. You're better than your record. It's about who you are on Sunday, and I think the Packers have every chance in the world to pull off the upset, and I believe in this team. I think they can get it done.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. Philly didn't have a lot of their starters playing this last game. Hurts is still in concussion protocol, so there's a lot of things that we need to take in consideration. And I think somebody in the chat said it best that, yeah, we're in the game, so that means we have a chance to win. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah. Crystal Dye in the chat says, James Jones said it last time we played them in Philly, we sent them home, talking about, back in the day. And then he said, Joe went on to say, we would have won that game with McManus. Great point.
Yep. Good point.
All right, we're out of here. AFM's still being toxic, so we're going to wrap this thing up. That man, let me tell you, he is consistent, if anything. So we will see you all in the morning for Good Morning Lambo at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Appreciate everybody hanging out. If you would hit that like button for us, had really good numbers or not. It's so cool that the team's coming off a 2-game losing streak and playing some of their worst ball of the year. And this loyal fan base still in here talking Packers, get ready for this playoff win. So it's us against the world, baby. That's the way we like it. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Have a good night.
And we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.